Hey everybody, and welcome back to Grounds Family Farm. In the last video, Kimberly told you that we went to town to rent a piece of equipment. Well, this is the piece of equipment we got. We rented a mini excavator. We've talked about before our pond project where we had the old pond that the pigs had messed up and we were in the process of filling it in. I've got a dozer, but the mound of dirt over here, I'll show you, the girls are on it, so the mound of dirt over here, with the dozer, I was just having to shave off the edges because I wasn't able to take a big chunk of it, and so it's taking a lot of time. And as I was working toward the inside, if you look right over here, you can see there's a lot of water and mud and it's wet. And so the dozer, I was afraid it was going to get stuck, so I quit. We've had a lot of rain. If you look through here, you can see all the water that's piled up. So with the Mini X, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to dig a trench to drain this out, and then I'm going to start breaking away this mound. That way I can have it where I can take the dozer, and once this dries out some, I can just smooth it out and hopefully turn this pond into pasture. Before, where this pond was, it was in a lot bigger pasture, but we've cross-fenced and everything. And so for us, it's easier to just do water tanks and things like that for the animals we have rather than wasting the ground on a pond. There's several other ponds on the property, but this one in particular, it's only in I don't know, I think this is 3 or 4 acres what it's in, and so it was just a big waste to have a huge pond here. And since the pigs had already torn it up, rather than pay to get it fixed, I just decided to fill it in with used water tanks. So that's what we're fixing to get started. Like I said, first I'm going to try to trench this out to drain out some of this water, and then I'm going to work on breaking this loose so that whenever it dries out I can just take the dozer and push it back, because we've got to take the Mini X back tomorrow. And so I've just got a little bit of time left. There's a few little small shrubs and trees, thorn trees and things around. I'll probably take those out while I've got it, because with it I can just pop out the roots and we'll go from there. But we're fixing to get started. Try to smooth off an area so that I can sit somewhat flat. I'm going to have to do this sideways because it's really muddy. Going to try to get some of this really muddy stuff out, and then I'm going to try to straighten up so that I can get it going. I am definitely not a professional at this, but it's cheaper to rent and do myself than to pay to have somebody do it. Once I get part of this ditch done, I will actually go up there and break right there beside where the pond water is. I left that intact so that it doesn't flood me out yet. This all runs downhill, so I'm going to try to slope this out a little bit so that it'll just run out to the field once it gets flowing. Flowing good now. I think that should be lower down there where it'll come on out, even though I stopped the ditch. While we let the pond drain, I'm fixing to work on this and see how this goes. The other thing we wanted to rent this for was to take out a few trees. Like I said, we've got a few thorn trees that are just a pain for the tractors and stuff. You got to worry about tires and all. And so I'm going to dig up around the roots of this and knock it down. And we also have a bunch of these little, I don't know, I think they're American beauty bushes or something like that around. And since this has a thumb on it, it's easy. It just pops them right out of the ground. So I'll probably use it to do that as well. But I'm going to start with digging out this tree. What I normally try to do is just scrape along the top edge of the ground and take out the roots, because if they have strong roots, then it'll try to pull the excavator forward. And so let's try to break the roots around it, go a little bit deeper each time. This is how I pop out the bushes, and take it just barely get under their root, which there's a tree on this one, but again, I'm just gonna go around the surface of the ground. So that's what we got the Mini X for. Like I said, we've got tractors and a bulldozer, but it just wasn't really good for the job we had. And as you can see with the trees, this knocks them out pretty quick. The dozer would have pushed that out too. Sometimes if you have to dig down with the blade though, it'll make a bigger mess than that. But with the thumb, you can pick the trees up, move them around, especially these little bushes. Those are really easy to do. But we're going to let this pond drain. You can still see the path going through there. The water's draining out. Let it all drain. It should drain most of it. It may hold a little bit, but then if we get any more rains over the next few weeks or however long it takes for it to dry up, they should go ahead and flow out and not just sit there and make it a muddy mess. But it's going to have to dry up some, and then we'll be able to take all this dirt that we tore up from the old levee and fill it in, get all this smoothed up, bush hog all this mess, and plant it in some grass and have a lot better pastures for our animals. After we get all the pastures situated and everything, our next plan is do some fencing and cross fencing to separate them a little bit better, and to maybe install a taller fence, but that's probably going to be a little ways down the road. But the main thing is getting this pond filled in, and like I said, this was a good weekend to do it. It was a nice, pretty weekend, but unfortunately, the day before I got the mini-X, we got like 4.5 inches of rain, so it made a mess. But that's all we have for you this time. We appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.